Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Suri Sessions. So today let's turn our attention into view. So we'll discuss what is view, why do we need views, and what various commands we could use on it, and then we'll turn our attention onto practical way on creating the view and then checking various behaviors of it. So to start with, what is view? A view is a virtual table which contains data from one or more tables. So that means we can create a view using the data from just one table or more than one, like 1, 2, 3, so on. So what happens to the data within the view? A view will refresh every time user queries it. So that means in case after creating the view, if you have changed some data within the main table, so whatever data which has been changed will reflect in the view when you do a select statement next time. So we'll discuss in detail practically later. But before that, why do we need views? So we need views for various reasons. Say for example, you have created a complex query where it contains data from more than one table and you have used joins, you have used where clause, you used group by, etc. So that query will be useful if you can store that in some table so that every time you want to view the result, you could see the result instant rather than repeating the steps of running the query again and then storing the result. So to avoid such circumstances, we could simply create a view with the result set from that particular complex query so that we can simply query the view which will give us the latest data set. So that's one requirement. And similarly, a specific purpose. Say for example, you have various business users or various stakeholders who want to view particular data set from the entire database. So in those cases, you can just create a specific view covering their requirement rather than creating the access to the whole lot of tables, which will even confuse them. So in those cases, we can create a view. And the most important thing is security. So as a measure of security, you don't want everyone to access all the tables. Again, you would need to use the grant command and revoke to do the accesses. So to avoid these, wherever possible, we can simply create a view, whatever relevant tables data they would need, and then based on that, the user can actually view the data rather than querying onto the actual tables. So these are the various reasons, but not limited to. There will be different requirements from different people. But in the end, like view is kind of a virtual table which holds no value like a table. Like the table will have some physical space, whereas view will have very limited or no space within the DB. So what various commands we could use on views? So like our tables, we can use all the DDL where we can use create, we can use drop command, we can use like DML like update, delete, we can use DCL like grant, revoke. So you could write all those commands here like create, drop, delete, grant, revoke. So you could use everything. So similar to tables, we can play around the various functionalities of the view. But for now, I hope you got the crux of what is view, why do we need view, and what various commands we can use. So let's go into a practical way to see how to create the view and how to play around with these functionalities. Okay, as we already discussed about views, so let's check them practically. So what we can do is like, I'm just first querying what data we got within the customer table. So we got like 5 records. So now I wanted to create a view using this particular table to start with. So what I want is like, I will create a view called customers UK as. So the syntax starts with like create view, view name as, and whatever we want, whatever command we want, like from the select statement, what all columns we would need. And if you want to apply any specific filtering on country, you can always do that. So say for example, okay, I'll apply the filter. I'll just say that, okay, can you create a view customers UK from customer table? I only want 3 columns and I want to restrict the data for country equal to UK. So when you do that, so if I create this, what happens? Yes, command completed successfully. So that means the view is created. So let's check. So again, how to check it? Similar to a table, we'll just do select statement, select star from customers UK. So you could see now the customers UK only hold data for 3 rows which are part of country UK. So since we are only filtering 3 columns, we couldn't see all the 6 columns like customer table, but at least now we can see the view is created. So now since the view is created, as we already discussed, let's play around some DDL commands. So before that, one important thing, as I stressed out at the start, so any changes to the main table will reflect the data within the view when you rerun it. So let's check that particular statement now. Say for example, for the customer table, for the customer ID 5, I want to change the customer name to customer 50 instead of 5. So now let's do that and see what happens with the view. Okay, the update statement successful. So let's check the data in the customer table first. Yes, you could see the customer name is equal to customer 50 now. So now let's check the respective view and see whether it's reflected or not. Yes, it is. It is reflected correctly here. So that means it has proven that whenever you made any changes to the main table, it will always reflect in the view when you run it next time. So now what if I want to change the data within the view? Say for example, I want to update for customer ID 6, I want to update the customer name as 60. So remember, it's updating in a view, not in the main table. So when you do that, one row is affected. So let's check the view. You could see customer ID 6, the customer name is 60. So now let's see what happens to the main table. So when you do that, you could also see the main table is also updated. So that means even though you have not updated that table, since you updated that as part of customers UK view, it's reflecting in the main table as well. So it's always maintaining that referential integrity. So as long as the table exists, the view exists, and the table get dropped off or deleted, that all the data within the table, then the corresponding changes will also reflect within the view. So keep in mind, you always cater the latest data set when you run the view. So now let's play around some DML commands. So now what I want is, I want to delete the data where customer ID equal to 6. So I'm doing delete from customers UK where customer ID equal to 6. Okay, one row impacted. Now let's see how many records we hold. Now we hold only 2 because we deleted customer ID equal to 6 row. So that means the delete statement is worked. So now what if I want to drop the view altogether? Okay, the specific purpose has been met. I no longer want to save this view. So then you can simply use drop view and view name. That's the syntax. So let's drop this. Command completed successfully. So now if you query customer UK view, you could no longer see that available. Yes, it is invalid object name. So likewise, you can play around all the DDL, DML, and all the create, drop, select, update, delete, etc. So since you have already seen how to create the data from one table, let's extend that to more than one. So in this case, I want to create customer sales table where I want to get the data from more than one table. In this case, I would like to join the data set from customer table and sales table. So where I'm doing an inner join, and also I could put up some clause if you want, say similar to what we did previously. We can simply say where c.country is equal to UK if you want to. But in this case, let's remove that. So let's create the whole data set. So now let's see what happens if you do this. Command completed successfully. So now let's check what data we hold as part of customer sales table. You could see the name is appearing over here. So that means the view is created. Here we go. So now we could see the join clause and whatever inner join we did. We got 5 rows, like 3 for customer ID 1, and we got the respective city from the customer table, and we also got the product name from the sales table. So likewise, we can play around based on the requirement. You could select the subset of the data, and you can always apply the filters. You can apply the join conditions, group by, union, everything. So literally whatever complex statements you want to use, you could use everything in one select statement, and you can just create a view, which will always helpful in case if you want to view it for various purposes as part of your SQL work. So that's how like we'll work on it. So again let's drop this if you want to, similar to the above command. If I drop it, yes, it is dropped, and I could see the data is no longer present. So likewise we can play around with the views, and depending on your requirement you could create it, update it, delete it, drop it. I hope this helps you in understanding about SQL views. See you in the next session. Thank you, and please do like, share and subscribe. Signing off, Suri.